Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Today, I have the honor and privilege of having a conversation with none other than Dr. Sam Chand, all the way from Atlanta, Georgia, in the US of A. For those of you who may not know, Dr. Sam Chand is one of the most sought after leadership consultants in the world. And so this is not something to be taken lightly. It is an honor for us to have some of his precious time today. So everyone that's listening to this right now or watching this right now, you're in for a treat. Get your notebooks, get something where you can take notes because you're going to learn a lot today. For those of you who may not know Dr. Chand, I just want to give you a quick introduction of who he is. Dr. Sam Chand has served as a senior pastor, a college president, a chancellor and president emeritus, a consultant and mentor to leaders of leaders. Dr. Chand's singular vision for his life is to help others succeed. Dr. Chand develops leaders through consultations, books, and speaking engagements. Leaders are using Dr. Chand's books as handbooks worldwide in leadership development. So once again, it is a joy and honor. So together, no matter where you're watching from, let us all together welcome Dr. Sam Chand to this broadcast today.
Thank you, Pastor Ben. What an honor and a joy it is, especially what's happening right here. I'm born and raised in India, in Lucknow, UP. So I'm a Lucknowwala, and just to be talking to predominantly brothers and sisters of my homeland, what a great honor and privilege that is. So my heart is full of gratefulness for this opportunity, Pastor Ben, for allowing me to speak into my homeland, and I just can't express to you how grateful I am for that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. For those of you who may not know, I had the privilege of hearing and seeing Dr. Sam Chand for the very first time back in 2003. This takes me back all the way to Virginia, Norfolk, Virginia, at Calvary Revival Church. I had the opportunity to serve under Bishop Courtney McBeth, and your good friend, sir. And so that's where I saw you for the first time. And in fact, just so that everyone knows, and I don't even know if you really know this because I don't know if I mentioned this to you. The first time I started serving at Calvary Revival Church, I had literally no clue of what it means to be a leader. And so I just started serving in the local church there. And I literally had to learn about leadership just to avoid sinking in the responsibilities that were given to me. And so because you were part of the people who would come there, serve or speak into the leadership and to the body there, I found your books. And back then we still had cassette tapes, and so I bought your cassette tapes, I bought your books, and I would read your books, I would listen to your tapes. And that's basically how I started learning and got on the journey of leadership. And so from 2003 all the way to now, your material, your stuff has really been helpful to me. So I want to thank you for doing what you have been doing all of these years. It's been helpful to me back then, and it is still super helpful to me now in leading the church, the family, and everything that God has called me to lead today as well.
When you talk about 2003, Pastor Ben, that makes me feel like I'm an ancient, old, geriatric man here, because you in 2003 were a little younger than you are right now. And so, life was different, but those were great days. They still are. Bishop Courtney McBeth, the great leader in Norfolk, Virginia, he's still my client. I consult with him, help him in the decisions that he's making, even in the times that we're living in right now, because that's my role, working with leaders really in ministry and marketplace to help them develop their strategies. And I know we'll talk a little bit about that in a moment.
Yes, sir. So you mentioned earlier that you're from Lucknow, and so just for the audience, so from point A, Lucknow, to now in Atlanta, just give us a brief idea of how you got from point A to point B, how you got from Lucknow to Atlanta, and what just share a little bit about your life's journey, sir.
Well, my life has been so long. I've gone from A, B, C, D, E, F, G to Z, and back again to A, and back to Z, and back again to A, back to Z. God has been good to me. My father was Pastor B.M. Chand in Lucknow, pastor of Dua Ka Ghar. He started that church. There were not many churches in those days, if you can well imagine, the late 40s. And so I was born in that family in 1952. I went to the United States of America in 1973 to a Bible college. I ended up being their president. It became a university, and I ended up being their president. So life was different at that time. I got married in 1979. I've been married to Brenda since 1979. We have two beautiful daughters, Rachel and Debbie. And Rachel is married with two children. Debbie is not. Both of them work in my ministry and my companies. And so life has been just really good. What I'm getting to do right now, Pastor Ben, I never ever dreamed of. You know, growing up in Lucknow, running around the streets there, going to school, different schools and things like that. Even in Bible college around Atlanta, I never thought that one day God would take me all over the world. That I will be writing books, consulting with leaders and sacred and secular. It's a crazy God story, and there's nothing strategic about it. It was just God's movements in my life, and to Him be the glory.
Amen, amen. And so Dr. Chand, you said it's been a crazy story, and I know from just listening to you over the last several years, I know that when you first came to America, it was not rosy. I know that it was a tough time for you, just based on stuff that you publicly shared in your talks. And so, you know, right now when we look all around the world, people are facing challenging situations, and I don't know what the climate was like when you first came to America, but I know you came with very little. Even if the economy was doing great, even if the world was doing excellent during those times, I know it was not excellent for you. So it was a challenging time for you. So just talk about how were you able to get through those challenging times? What helped you during those times?
Maybe I can talk about the challenging times and then what helped me get through that.
Okay,
so I came here in 1973 to Atlanta, USA. 1974, the economy fell. It became really, really bad. So I didn't have a job, could not get a work permit from Immigration Naturalization Service, now known as Homeland Security, because Americans were out of jobs. So things were really, really tough in those days. And it was in those days that I lived at the mercy of others. People would give me food to eat and clothes to wear, and they would, they would take care of me. I would go to supermarkets, and in the back of supermarkets are these dumpsters where people were throwing some food away, and I just pick that up. And things were, things were quite challenging, let's say, like the word you use at that time. So the basics of food and clothing and roofing over my head, that was a necessity, and that was hard to come by. And the other thing is, when I came to America, I did not know anybody. I had no relatives, no Indians, no Americans, no anybody. I had no relatives, can't say that I had friends when I went there, simply because I did not know anybody. And in those days, I know things are different now. In those days, when you left India, they allocated you how much money you could leave with as a student. So the Reserve Bank of India gave me $7, $7 US dollars, S7, like in seven, like SEVEN dollars. And I was young and naive and stupid. So my first flight stopped, it was Air France, it stopped in Paris, and I had $7. And, I was young. I wanted to impress my friends and, my family. So I bought these postcards in the Paris airport and wrote them little notes, put stamps on it, and spent all of my money on that. And when I landed in New York, I landed with 87 cents, literally 87. And the reason I remember that is I landed in domestic part of JFK, John F. Kennedy Airport in New York City, and domestic, international domestic was on the other side. And I was walking around to get to it, and the shuttle came by, a bus came by, and I thought I'd get on the bus to take me from domestic to international to domestic. And when I got on the bus, the driver wanted $1, and I didn't have $1. All I had was 87 cents. That's
Yeah.
why I remember 87 cents. And so God has been good to me. And you know, that's not my story. That's your story too. You look back on your life and you think about how did I get to where I am? What am I doing? What could have been? How God has blessed me, positioned me. I have a roof over my head. I got clothes on my back. I got food on my table. I got friends. I got faith. I got family. I mean, it's just an amazing story.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Let me
So,
tell you
so, so
what got me
amazing. Yeah.
through. So let me tell
Yes,
you
sir.
what got me
Yeah.
through. It's a very simple word called today.
Hmm.
Simply called today.
Today.
Nothing I can do about yesterday.
Hmm.
Tomorrow is simply a promise.
Hmm.
You know, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. All I got is today.
Hmm.
So the big question is not did you not do or what did you do yesterday, because we are a product of yesterday. We understand
Yeah.
that.
Hmm.
And we can prepare for tomorrow and plan for tomorrow. I get that too. The only place I can actually take action
Hmm.
and do something is today.
Today. Hmm.
So, you know, when I was going through that time, I was looking for food
Hmm.
for today, shelter for today, a safe place to be at today. And I think anxiety happens when we try to plan so far out that is so out of our control. And so I wanted to say to everybody, what got me through that time was simply focusing on provisions for today, being thankful for today. I woke up today. I'm going to sleep today. Uh,
Hmm.
just focusing on that one simple word today. I think Jesus said something like that, didn't he?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
think just listening to what Jesus had to say
Yeah.
becomes imperative for our lives, because
Yeah.
there's nothing I can do but yesterday.
Hmm.
All my plans for tomorrow can go away just like that, as we know in these days.
Yes, sir.
Today is all we have. And so at the end of today, the question will be, what did I do today?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Got stuck a little bit, I think, but we're fine now, Dr. Chan. Yeah. All right. So that was awesome. I think every single person that is watching this right now, that is super helpful. Don't focus. Don't worry about what happened yesterday. Don't worry about what's going to happen tomorrow. Focus on today and take it step by step. So let's talk a little bit more about leadership, Dr. Chan. That's what you are known for. You travel all around the world. I know the travel has drastically changed for you, because as far as I know, if I know anything about you, you're on a different flight on every single day of the week, flying from different parts of the world all the time. And so I know this is a different pace for you. But as we talk about leadership, especially in the context where I am in India, one of the things that I've observed is that there are many people who don't even consider themselves as leaders, Dr. Chand. A lot of times I talk to people, whether it's in church, whether it's outside, they'll say, well, I'm just a sound guy in the church. I'm just one of the people who plays an instrument in the church. I'm just an usher in the church. I'm just a nurse. I'm just a doctor. I'm whatever. But they don't think of themselves as a leader. So the first question I have is, do they need to think or look at themselves as leaders, number one? And number two, what do they need to understand about leadership?
Well, I believe everybody leads in some capacity. So the question becomes, can you define leadership? So I'm going to give you Sam Chan's definition of leadership.
All right.
If anybody's following you, you're a leader. Let me say it again.
Yeah.
Anybody's following you, you're a leader. That simply means if you are a mother and children are following you, you're leading your children. If you're the husband, the father, and the family is following you, you're the family leader. If you mentioned that's the sound guy, and you mess up, everything messes up. So that, yeah. So the sound guy cannot just say, I'm just a sound guy, because as many people sitting in that room, and nowadays all the broadcast, all the Zoom and all the Facebook and Twitter, Instagram, or whatever you are doing, that is going through the sound system, right? And so
Yes, sir.
all those people are following you. If something happens in your department, then there are no followers. If so, whatever sphere of life you might be, if you're a teacher in a school, for example, there are children that are following you, and sometimes the parents of the children are following you. If you're the principal of a school, then the teachers are following you. If you're a doctor, it doesn't matter who you are. When are following you, then you are their leader. Now, there are different levels of leadership because there are different consequences of leadership. Because the higher you go, the more consequential it is. But I know this, even I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a grandfather, I'm a father-in-law, I'm all of those things that I'm describing to you. And probably my most consequential leadership is not my positional leadership. It is where I live in my family. If I cannot lead my family, the Bible says, if you cannot lead your household, how will you lead the church? So leadership is at all levels. I don't want anyone to think I'm just, take that vocabulary out. I'm just a teacher. I'm just a sound person. I'm just whatever. Take the word just out. Say, I'm a teacher leading students. I'm a mother leading my children. I'm a husband leading my family. I am a sound man, sound woman, sound person who is leading the sound part of whatever we are trying to do. I'm a media person who's leading, because so the question is, are people following you? Are you in a position where others are dependent on you? And if the answer is yes, then you're a leader.
Yeah.
So don't try to overcomplicate this whole leadership thing. If people are following you, if people are looking up to you, if you make decisions for other people, you're a leader.
Amen. So with that definition, with that understanding, I don't think there's anybody that is watching this that can say they're not a leader anymore, because I think they're either making decisions or they're in a place where others are dependent upon what they do and how they make decisions. And so everybody is a leader. And I think leadership is amplified, especially during times of crisis. And so what is it that we, as we're going through a time of crisis, not just in one small pocket of the world, but pretty much every single country in the world is being affected by the current situation because of the coronavirus. And so when it comes to crisis, I've always heard it say that crisis reveals the true colors of a person. So crisis tends to either break people down, or during crisis, either people rise up. And so if we are going to be people and leaders who rise up during this time of crisis, Dr. Chan, what kind of mindset do we need to have during times like these? And what should we be doing during times like these?
Well, during times like these, if you're not careful, you'll get into survival mode. And you start making decisions for what is good for you. But during times of crisis, you've got to know that every decision you're making is a consequential decision. That means your decision will affect other people's decisions, who will affect other people's decisions, will affect. So your decision is going to start a wave of actions or reactions on other people's sides. So during times of crisis, you've got to remind yourself, it's just not you. Your decisions can affect other people. For example, right now, if you go outside, at least in the United States of America, where I'm at, we are wearing masks. Some are even wearing gloves, plastic gloves, and so on and so forth. Well, I'm making this decision to put the mask because it is consequential, not just for me. Those people who will come in contact with me, the 2-meter distancing is a decision. I'm just using the examples that all of us are familiar at this time in our life, in which every decision becomes consequential. So there's no flippancy to it. You don't get to do a redo or a do-over on this kind of and the other thing that you have to understand leading in times like this is that you may not realize it, but other people are looking up to you. Because if you have been saying I'm just whatever you describe yourself, and you take the just out of that, then you remind yourself that there are children who are looking up to you. There are parents who are looking up. There are people who are watching me, and for example, watching me and watch Pastor Ben and listening to us are dependent on the people who are running the camera, the sound, the internet, the post-production, the putting it all together. We're dependent on each other. And so the dependency of leadership, so it's not like, well, I am whatever Dr. So-and-so said. No, you are not. We could not do what we're doing right now and come to you in the way that we're coming to you if we did not have people who are doing the sound, the camera, the light, the internet, and so on and so forth. So it's not like I'm a higher leader. I just happen to be the one who's talking, but I can talk into space, and we will never hear each other simply if we don't realize how dependent we are. So every decision is consequential, and every decision is dependency, because we do need each other more than ever before.
Yeah. And so when we talk about every decision being consequential, I think sometimes we run away from making certain decisions because there are times when there is pain associated with certain decisions. And I've learned this from your book, Leadership Pain, and then more so on a practical basis ever since I became a pastor of New City Church over the last 3 years, that whenever you make certain decisions, there is pain associated with those decisions. And in your book, Leadership Pain, you talk about the fact that you will only grow to the threshold of your pain. You will only grow to the threshold of your pain. And so even during times like these, Dr. Chan, how do you define what is leadership pain, and why should we not avoid that pain in our life?
Okay, so let me talk about three things: decision, pain, and pain avoidance. So let's talk about decisions.
All right.
Here's what you need to know. You're deciding all the time. To make a decision is a decision. To delay a decision is a decision. To defer the decision is a decision for later on. To not make a decision, to deny a decision is a decision. To delegate a decision is a decision. So when you say, I'm just not going to make a decision, that's a decision.
A decision.
So I need for you to understand that everyone is making decisions all the time. When you're driving in traffic, you're making decisions, and those are unconscious decisions or subconscious decisions. But you are making decisions all the way from what to wear, to what you're going to eat, to where you're going to work, to where you're not going to work, to everybody's making decisions all the time. So for someone to say, well, I don't think I'm going to make that decision right now, you just made a decision. So you just need to know that, because there's no such thing as no decision making. The second thing is pain. So the people have helped us understand this. We gravitate towards pleasure and we run from pain. That is how it is. Think about children. When they're growing up, as long as it's fun and it's not boring, because right now during this time when everyone's at home, everyone's children are saying, I'm bored, where am I going? So it's all that is going on, because the pleasure is gone. And in the absence of pleasure, all we feel is the pain. So the reason that people do not allow pain into their life is because they don't understand the value of pain. Pain is valuable. So if there was a hot surface, a stove that was hot, and you put your hand on it and you feel the pain and you fill your hand out immediately, if you didn't feel pain, you would just burn your hand up. And so pain is a friend. Pain tells you what is good for you, what's not good for you. And pain is a teacher. Pain instructs us. This is what I'm about to say, a sentence, and you tell me if it's true in your life. I have learned greater lessons of life during my painful times than my successful times. It is during those painful, angst-filled, confused times of our life, ambiguity when we didn't know which way to turn. It's a or who could help us, or if there was even help when we're feeling so hopeless and helpless. It was during those times of pain that we learned the best lessons of life.
Yeah.
So if you run from pain, you are also running from the most instructive portions of your life. Because see, when things are well, everybody is around you. You've got great friends. You're having a good time. But you discover who your real friends are, real supporters are, who are the people who actually believe in you, not during successful times, but during painful times. So I just want everyone to know that pain is a friend. Pain is your best instructor. Pain is the best classroom. I am doing what I'm doing today. Remember earlier on we talked about my challenges. I'm doing what I'm doing today because of painful times in my life. And it is the pain that allows you to give more generously to people around you. It allows you to become gracious. It allows you to remain humble. It allows you to understand that without other people, we would not be in what we're doing in life. That other people have value in our life, that without other people, we could not do anything that we are doing in our life. And so there's no big I's and little U's, but we're all in this thing together. And so pain helps us to know that we can grow because of the pain. Don't run from your pain. Embrace your pain. It hurts right now, but that is the best way that we learn.
Amen. Amen. So one of the things, Dr. Chan, you talked about decisions, and you said, like, even when we avoid making a decision, we're deciding. Even when we put something away, we're making a decision. And so now when it comes to decision making, and I think sometimes the difference between what makes a leader, let's say an amateur leader or a leader that's successful or leader that makes great decisions is how they make certain decisions in their life and in their churches or in their businesses and organizations. And so you coach people, you mentor people all around the world, whether it's in the sacred or in the secular. And so with the access that you have, what are the things that they are thinking about during these times, and what kind of decisions are they making?
A lot of leaders have regrets.
Okay.
I wish I had been more aware of technology. I wish I had seen myself in a wider way. I wish I had prepared. So there's some things like that. A lot of people are asking about, so what happens after this is over? So that is another part of the question. That, but I think high-level leaders are thinking, remember I said about today? High-level leaders are thinking about how can I prepare today for what is coming? Because nobody knows what's coming. Have our theories. I think we can make informed guesses. I think I have a pretty good, because I'm talking to hundreds of leaders all over the world, I have a fairly good idea of how it might look like. Underline the word might, put the word might in quotes. You know, it's a fluid situation. But I do know this, that brilliant leaders, above average leaders are saying, I don't know all that will happen, but how can I prepare today for what is coming up, what might not come up? So preparation has to do with people, preparation has to do with processes, preparation has to do with how you're going to repurpose your product, preparation has to do with how you're going to think in a different way, because you cannot bring that thinking into that thinking. You got to change your thinking today. What have you resisted that has really become your friend now? Things that we used to say would never happen have become necessary now. Things that we used to say, I'm not going to be a part of that. You're not only a part of that, you're promoting it now. Think about that, you know? No, we will never do that. And now you're saying, please, 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 come. So all of those things have to do with the mental mindset of a person. So I think smart leaders are in a space in their minds right now thinking, I don't know, but how do I prepare? Not plan, but prepare. And there's a difference in planning and preparation. We can talk about that. But the big question that leaders are asking right now is, so what should I be doing today? that'll help me on the other side.
Yeah. Dr. Chen, you just mentioned, you said there are a lot of leaders right now that are regretting. Now that word, that's a big word, the word regret. And I know even during times like these, after we come out on the other side, however long that is, depending on where we're living and all of that, there will be people who come out of this who will be extremely happy for the way they lived their life during this time, because they were focusing on today, they were doing what was necessary, and they were planning, they were preparing for what was to come after the lockdown, after everything, after this crisis moves over. But there will also be people who will come out of this and then look back at this time and then regret the time that was wasted during this time. And so what would you say to those people? How can we make sure that we don't look back at this time and regret this time at a later stage in our life?
Absolutely. That's a great question, Pastor Ben. So regret, everything like pain, regret is another way of thinking that can either become instructive or depressing.
Mm.
Depressing is, man, I should have, I could have, why didn't I? If I had only done that, if I'd only read that, if I'd only made that decision, but you can't do anything about that.
Mm.
It becomes instructive, saying, okay, what did I learn from that?
Mm.
What are my life lessons?
Mm.
How can I leverage that learning? So if it becomes a classroom for you, then regret becomes a stepping stone. You can go up from there. But if you allow it to put you down, because there's nothing you can do about it. I have regrets, you have every human being that you know in life has regrets.
Yeah.
If I could look back over my life, there are many decisions I would not make and many decisions I would make. If I could do everything over, isn't that all of us? So, but why do I want to live there? If I made a mistake in my relationship with my wife, that's a regret. I want to do better. I want to learn from that. If I made a mistake with how I raised my children, I can do that better. In my education, in my money, in my ministry, in my leadership, doesn't matter how you look at that, Pastor Ben, it is the whole essence of what can I learn from it. So I do not allow regret to pull me down. I allow regret to pull me up. It says, hey, I know you messed up, but you're not the only one. Learn from it. Redo it. Go up from there. Because your regrets can become a great lesson of leadership into somebody else's life.
Yeah, that's excellent. And I really pray and hope that people that are watching this, no matter how things have been in the past, I pray that as you watched it, that this is encouraging you and that you will begin to take certain steps. And Dr. Chan, even if you can just talk for a few moments about planning. You mentioned planning. How can we do that in a proper way? How can we prepare and how can we plan to do things better as we move further during this time?
So there's a difference, Pastor Ben, between preparation and planning.
Okay.
So people who are asking a planning question are asking, when will this end? And what will we do? And what will be different? That's a planning question. But then there are people who are asking the preparing question. And the preparing question is very simple. It is, what should I be doing now to better myself, to think differently? Because doing will come later. That's planning. Preparing is a way of thinking. Give you example. If you're traveling, you used earlier my traveling. I haven't traveled anywhere in months, and I don't think I will for a while. So yeah, I was supposed to be in London twice, Dubai, New Zealand. I mean, all that got canceled. So I think when you look at a suitcase, think about a suitcase. And here's my question. What is in your suitcase? All right. If I open your suitcase and there's just a t-shirt in there, and then there are sandals in there, and then there's a light shorts in there, I look at your suitcase and I know you're going to a warm climate. You're going to a warm climate. Next scenario, I open your suitcase and I see a scarf, a muffler, gloves, hat, heavy coat in your suitcase. That tells me you're going to a cold place. So what is in your suitcase tells me where you are going. pack your suitcase for where you've been.
Mm.
You pack your suitcase for where you
You're
are.
going.
You pack your suitcase for where you are going. Give you
Going.
another example of planning and preparation.
Mm.
So somebody, you asked me, so how long did it take you to plan to answer these questions? I would say maybe 2-3 hours
Mm.
to plan. So
Mm.
you ask, second question is, how long did it prepare you? How long did it
Mm.
take to prepare for this
Mm.
conversation you're having with Pastor Ben?
Mm.
30, 35 years.
Mm.
Do you see the difference
Yeah.
there?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Planning is just a few
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah.
Preparation is a lifetime.
Lifetime. Mm.
And it's a, so preparation is ask two questions. Preparation asks two questions.
All right.
What and why? What
Okay.
and why? That's a
All right.
what am I packing and why am I
Why
packing
not?
that? I'm packing
Okay.
a scarf, a muffler, gloves, hat. Why? Because I'm going to a cold climate. What?
Mm.
Why? Those are preparation questions.
Mm. Excellent.
Everything else, when, where, how much, who, is tactical questions. So
Okay.
strategic questions are what and why.
Mm.
Tactical questions are all the rest. So
Okay.
don't focus at this time on your tactical.
Mm.
Focus on the what and why. So
Why?
what will my organization look like? What will my company look like? What
Mm.
will my shop look like? What will my church look like?
Mm.
What
Yes.
and why?
Why? Yeah.
So what and why is preparation.
Yeah.
Everything else is planning.
That is super helpful. Again, I pray that you guys, every single person that is watching this, no matter what stage of life you are in, no matter what kind of role you find yourself in, I pray that you will take this information to heart, and I pray that you will start planning and preparing and putting things together. I pray that this is super helpful to you. All right, so as we bring this to a close, Dr. Chand, very quickly, I want to ask you, there are many people that are working in different jobs right now, and also there are several people that are watching this who are owners or CEOs of small companies and large companies and all of that. So the first question I want to ask is, what are the employees looking for in their, what are the employees looking for in their employers during times like these, in their leaders and their employers? Yeah.
Number of things. Boy, that's a huge question. So let me just do that in a couple of minutes.
Okay.
If you're an employer and you have employees, you're a leader. Your followers are looking for, number one, empathy. Empathy says, I'm sorry, it's not me too. It is just empathizing with people. Because you see, if you're not careful, you will talk intellectually, but everyone is hearing stuff emotionally. Speaking from the head, everyone's listening from the heart. So empathy says, how do I tune into their heart? Think, feel. Go here first, go there next. Your followers, your employees are also looking for you to have clarity of communication. Clarity. You cannot be clear enough. Communicate, over communicate. You cannot communicate enough. Be clear, concise. Don't speak fuzzy language. Don't try to dress it up. People just want to know what is it. And then people also want to know that you are making decisions based on what is good for the whole and not a part.
Got it.
Because when you make it a part, that leaves other people out of that.
Yes, sir.
You also want people to, when the people that you're leading are looking for stability from you, stability. That means you cannot be wishy-washy. You can change your mind. But then because of the empathy factor, you say, yesterday when I made this decision, we had this information, but today we have this information, therefore we're going to do this.
Okay. So,
and the most important thing is for a leader, and that others are looking up to you. If you're an employer, other people are looking up to you as employees, is to let them know that you really care for them. Because somebody much smarter than me said this: people don't care how much you know, till they know how much you care.
Yes, sir.
And your humanity, not your intellectual, your humanity will build bridges that allow this kind of dialogue to continue.
Okay, sir. Yeah, very helpful, Dr. Chen. And then let's flip that around. Now, what is it that employers are looking for in employees during this time? Because again, because of the economic climate, there are people who are worried about their jobs and so their financial security and all of that. So if a person is working under somebody, what kind of attitude should they be showing out of their life? What kind of things should they be working on and thinking about when they go to their jobs and when they're working in their jobs?
I'm going to give you a fresh thought here.
All right.
We like, if your boss, your supervisor, your leader got a WhatsApp message or an email or a tweet or Instagram, some kind of communication from you saying, hey, Pastor Ben, how are you doing? We expect the leader to check up on us. But when us check up on her or him, that is a totally different ball game. It encourages the leader to know that you are thinking about them too, not just you thinking about the people you're leading, but you are thinking. So I would say to you, you have an opportunity to stand out among everybody else by reaching up and saying, how are you? Empathy, heart, feelings, emotions are all very valid. So you reach up.
Yes, sir.
So they are expecting somebody over here to care for me.
Yeah.
I'm caring for you. Is there anybody who cares for me? The other thing they're expecting is for people to understand that if I'm your leader, I cannot share all the information with you. Because some information is confidential. Some information is very, very broad. And so you have trusted me so far. Trust me in my decision making. And don't be pushing back on the decisions that I'm bringing to you. Another thing that your leader might be looking for is solutions from you. Your solution may not be the solution that gets accepted, but your solution can start another idea for another solution. The people who are going to rise out of this on the other side are people who brought solutions during this time.
Absolutely.
So be thinking not problem, think solution. Hey, this is what we could do. Have you thought about this? I'm sure you're thinking about this, but would you also consider this? And at this time, if the leader is smart, at this time, all solutions are welcome, because a solution from person A, person B, person C, person D, you start putting the solutions together, and next thing you know, you have an amazing solution. Because nobody owns the whole solution, but we all can do that together with each other.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. All right, Dr. Chan. So final, last question, as thank you so much for your valuable time. And what I want to ask is, again, because of the crisis, because of everything that is going on, I know faith has played a major role in your life as well. And so what would you say to that person who's afraid right now? They're living in fear. They're anxious about what might happen. And they might not even be sure about their relationship with God and how to think about all the spiritual aspects of life. What would you say to that person right now?
I would say the most important thing in my life is faith. Faith, I'm a Christian. I'm a Christ follower. I believe Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. It is that anchors me. Because you see, during these times, you need an anchor. So when your ship is being tossed about by the waves, you pull into a harbor, you drop anchor. You got to have an anchor. So right now, our anchors are hard to find because everybody who is trying to help us, be it the government, be it the social environment, be it our friends, everyone who is trying to help us is in the storm too. So where do we go to find help who is not in the storm, who is with us in the storm, but is not affected by the storm. And that
Mm.
is my faith in God.
Mm.
So it is my faith in God that says he placed me on this planet. It is my faith in God that says he can empower me and he can lift me up. It is my faith in God that says that regardless of what happens in my life, he's got in control. It is the faith in God that says that he's my provider. It is my faith in God that says that he who has taken care of me all these years is not going to abandon me right now. So it is my faith.
Yes, sir.
That allows me to drop anchor in the middle of the storm. And while my ship is being tossed to and fro, it is balanced out by the anchors in my soul. In my soul, I have to make a decision whether I'm going to live by faith or by fear. Faith, fear. Fear will take me down. Faith will build me up. And that faith is built on my relationship with my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
Amen. Amen. And so if anybody that is watching this, if you're afraid, if you're going through a fearful time in your life, if you're anxious, and if you just need someone to talk to, someone to pray with, there is a phone number that is on the screen. There's all our social media information. Just write to us, or right now you can comment in the comment section, and we are here to pray for you, help you in any way that we can. Once again, thank you so much for joining us. Now, we have some very exciting news. Before you leave, just stay with me for a few more minutes. There is, again, like I said, Dr. Sam Chand is somebody that is sought out around the world. If you're in the corporate world, if you're in the sacred world, if you know of a large ministry from anywhere around the world, if you know of a large company, somewhere in the line is Dr. Chand leading, mentoring those leaders, coaching those leaders, helping them behind the scenes. And so now, for those of you who have seen him for the very first time, Dr. Chand has some exciting news. He has an amazing offer that is available to you. And so you will see the information on the screen right now. All the website information is on there. Dr. Chand, if you can just quickly share what you have made available to every single person that is watching this right now.
Well, thank you very much. I am excited. You need to know this is the first time I'm making an in-person formal announcement about this on your show, Pastor Ben. So I have a leadership program that thousands of people all over the world and on every continent are part of. It is simply called the Sam Chand Leadership Institute, SCLI, Sam Chand Leadership Institute. And we have been selling that for years for $2,000 a year, because there are 12 books that go along with it, one for every month. There's a 12-month program. It's all online, 12 books, over 50 videos. It's a weekly program over a whole year. You get a certificate at the end of it, a certificate of completion. All of those things happen. So we've been selling that for $2,000 for a year's program. But during this COVID times, we started asking ourselves, how do we serve? How do we serve people at large, especially when people are at home? They may have a little extra time, but they don't have a lot of money. So how can we blend it all together? So what we have done is we've created a program. You ready for this? It is whatever you want to pay, no questions asked. Whatever you want to pay. And I'm going to give you a website that's going to appear on your screen. The website is www, of course, www.samchandleadership.com/COVID, COVID. samchandleadership.com/COVID. When you go there, it'll ask you, what do you want to pay? You name your price. No one's going to question it. You'll be in the program. So this is a great advantage. And what you can do is, if you are leading an organization, if you're CEO, executive director, senior pastor, you're just leading people, you can share this information with everybody, because this money is not going to come out of your pocket. It's not going to come out of your church. It's not going to come out of your business. It will come out of whatever people want to invest in themselves. Yeah. So it's a 12-month online digitalized program. 12 books that I have written. They are all my books, 12 books. There are videos, over 50 videos, all that on a monthly basis, and you can grow together. So So for example, Pastor Ben, if you've got 100 leaders in your church and they want to share that and they name their price, whatever that might be, and it's a really, really good deal. We're calling it
Yeah.
whatever you want to pay, no questions asked.
Yeah, amazing deal and offer, Dr. Chan. Thank you. For every single person that's watching this, I'm talking to the business leaders, I'm talking to the people in working in different MNCs here in Hyderabad, in other parts of India that are watching this, or even if you're watching from around the world. No matter which country you're watching from, it's going to be valid for you. So this is not just for people in a particular region of the world. So no matter where you're watching from, go to that website right away and get enrolled, because no matter where you are, this information that you have received just in this short amount of time has been valuable, I know. And if you take the time to invest in yourself over the next year, I guarantee you, your leadership, your life, and everything else will go to the next level. So every business leader that is watching this, and some of you work in different companies, and maybe you can take this, offer to your department head. Maybe you can take it to your boss and say, hey, boss, this is an excellent thing. I think our entire team can get enrolled in this. And if everyone on the team gets enrolled in this, everybody on the team goes to the next level. And so I would encourage you to definitely check this out and be someone that's a blessing to Dr. Chand, and also help you grow in the things that you are responsible for at this stage of your life. All right. So at this time, once again, let's all together thank Dr. Chand for giving of his precious time today. So let him know in the comments below, and make sure you follow him. He's available online on Instagram and on Twitter and on Facebook. So all that information is available to you on the screen. So make sure you follow him on all of those channels, and then send him a message. Let him know in the comments, and send him a message saying, hey, Dr. Chand, I saw you for the first time on this live broadcast, and thank you so much for the value. Let him know personally that he has been a blessing to you by this and through this interview. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Chand. And until we see you again next time, sir. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you.